Om Sri Sai Ram. Again, welcome again for all the people who are joined. Um, so we're going to start the satsang soon. Uh, we are very lucky to have Dr. Abhishek from our Mudanhalli Institute, Medical Institute here. Then we have Krishna's sister, even trustee. We have Mehran ji, Vivek Mahadevan from One World, One Family Foundation. And we have the core members of each one Educate One volunteers here. So welcome everyone for this first edition of 2025 Satsang. We'll hopefully have some satsang every month. That is the hope. And Dr. Abhishek, we're lucky to have you. And also welcome our new and upcoming YA in each and Educate One coordinator, Siddarth. And we are also lucky to have him. And he is actually a passer from Mudanahalli for people who don't know. So he's a good example for somebody who passed out of our institute, just like Abhishek too was an alumni from our institute. And I think these are the young people who are going to lead this extremely vast and global scale mission, because we all wonder how this is going to run. I'll actually hand it over to Siddarth to introduce Abhishek. Is the most appropriate. You're also an alumni, and then we'll hand it over to Abhishek. Saira.
Adam Jayadev, brother. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, so it's my honor to be able to introduce Brother Abhishek to all of us today. So, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so Brother Abhishek, or more precisely, Dr. Abhishek is an alumni of the Alikek campus from which he graduated in 2007. He's also a double gold medalist in MD anesthesia and has received a fellowship in pain and regional anesthesia. And he worked in the corporate sector for 5 years before joining the institute. And he's currently serving as the chief intensivist and anesthesiologist at the Sri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research. So we look forward to hearing from Dr. Abhishek about all his exciting experiences. So over to you, brother.
And before Dr. Abhishek starts, one more thing I would add is we're also lucky to have him stay on for some time after satsang. So we'll also have a Q&A at the end. So for any of you who have questions, want to know more about Institute and all that, Dr. Abhishek, it's fine, right? So we will have it towards the end. Yeah, Dr. Abhishek, over to you.
Yeah. Good morning. So, a loving Sairam to one and all. So today on this auspicious morning, so it's so nice to have a satsang like on it. This shows the beauty of the technology that we have. So the technology wherein all of us can connect across the globe. Like this whole world is so flat now. It truly gives a sense of one world, one family for all of us. So best wishes to everyone. So we're all online. So recently, sorry for the voice. So my voice is a little coarse. And am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you. Your video seems a little bit stuck, or is it just for me?
I think it's great. Yeah, and even the audio is
audio is very clear though. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So recently we had gone to Kumbh Mela. So we returned from Kumbh Mela on 31st night. So it was such a divine experience. The thing with Kumbh Mela is that our institution had a memorandum of understanding with the government of Uttar Pradesh, wherein the Kumbh Mela is a huge fair, which you all know. The huge fair, I visited Uttar Pradesh for the first time, and that too for the Kumbh Mela for the first time. Huge fair is created in a 4,000-acre campus. It's a makeshift arrangement on the riverbed of Ganges, wherein almost 4,000 acres, which is all dust and mud. It's a makeshift arrangement. Artificial roads are built, the tents are placed, around 25 to 30 lakh devotees, sadhus, saints, sages, and all the tourists who have come for pilgrims are staying there on board. Around 25 to 30 lakhs people are staying there. And moreover, you can't even imagine the volume of people visiting. Around 8 to 10 crores of people on a given day. are staying and are visiting Kumbh Mela. The Kumbh Mela or the fair of that scale, they've created different sectors in Kumbh Mela, and ours belong to sector number 16, where there is a 25-bedded hospital. And as I told, we are having MOU with the government of Uttar Pradesh, and with this MOU, we have started an hospital there from January 14th to February 26th. So it was a lovely experience, right? Like, so daily we were seeing around 2,000 to 3,000 patients in a day in a 25-bedded hospital in Kumbh Mela. And lot of patients, serious patients used to come, like patients with MI, patients with stroke, patients with uh, uh, acute exacerbation of bronchial asthma, and COPD patients, and patients with GE. So many different varieties of patients, serious patients, not so serious patients, and such a vibe, such a divine atmosphere, and such an opportunity, good opportunity to serve in that atmosphere, right? So it was a very good experience. And amongst all such patients whom we have treated, there is one such patient whom I would like to share. So I don't know his name. I forgot to ask his name because I will tell you the story. You'll come to know why I didn't ask his name. So this gentleman, so we initially we got a call, anonymous call, saying that there is a 71-year-old sage. He is a little sick, he's running temperature, he's having severe bouts of cough. So would anyone like to come and see the doctor? Any doctor would come and see the patient. So we from our hospital, they send one of our doctor, one of our government doctors was working there in our hospital to see the patient. He went there, saw the patient. The patient was all bone and skin. I mean to say the sage, the patient who is a sage, 70-year-old, for 40 years, from the age of 30, he has not taken any food. He was just on water and a little bit of fruits. That's it. That too, one time in a day, he has some fruits, some orange, some grapes. That's all. So no absolute food at all for 40 long years, and still is surviving and is healthy. Of course, he was thin, but he was healthy. So when this doctor went to see the patient, the sage, he saw the patient. So after seeing the patient, this doctor came back to the hospital saying, we need to get some medicines. So the patient also happened to call some other doctors from some other hospital in Kumbh Mela as well. So a couple of doctors also had gone. All those three doctors came to our unit to consult about that patient. They told, see, this gentleman doesn't take any food, leave about medicines, but still we want to give some injectables. It doesn't take oral medications. So what's the best thing that we could give to the patient? So we're all just discussing, and amongst them, there was a doctor who was wearing an orange robe and a stethoscope around his shoulder. So we asked the doctor, so what is that? Are you a sage who has turned to be a doctor, or a doctor who has turned out to be a sage? So this gentleman, he says, no, I am an MBBS doctor who has done my MD General Medicine way back 40 years ago. Now I've left my practice and I've joined one of the institution as a sage. And he goes on to say that he is a Naga Sadhu. So Naga Sadhus who follow that staunch ceremonial rituals as a sage, they don't even wear the clothes. I mean to say, of course, while meditating, they don't even wear the clothes. And while Ganga Snan, they don't wear the clothes. And Naga Sadhus are given so much of importance at Kumbh Mela. It is only when the Naga Sadhus bathe that others are allowed to bathe in Ganges. So that is the priority, or what you say, the importance that they give to Naga Sadhus there. So it was such a divine experience to confront one of the Naga Sadhus in this way, who was a doctor, who has turned to be a Naga Sadhu, and who has taken spirituality to given importance to spirituality in his life, to such an extent where he has turned not only to become a sage, but even a Naga Sadhu, leaving everything else. So this Kumbh Mela was a divine experience, and I was just wondering, where is Uttar Pradesh and where is Muddenahalli? This is how Sadguru connects each and every one of us to the entire country and to the entire world as a whole, truly standing by the words, one world, one family. So, just I happen to say this because of my throat. I had an infection having been in the crowd and in the mela, being in the hospital, and it's just like a warfield. So recently there is a movie by Akshay Kumar. The movie name is Kesari. This is a real story where 21 Sikhs, they guard the fortress and against the Britishers. There will only be 21 soldiers confronting thousands and thousands of Britishers, right? So their main aim would be to guard the fortress. Such was the situation in that hospital. Thousands of patients were just flocking in, and we are just around 10 to 12 doctors, and it's just like a warfield. So we used to say, a yuddha hai, a mahayuddha hai, a sangram hai. And one slogan I would like to share in Kumbh Mela, which they say, Kumbh Mel to Sangam hai. They say Kumbh Mel is the conglomeration of all the individuals, Sangam. Sangam में तो है संग्राम है. In Sangam we meet all different people. Sangram में संघर्ष है. In Sangam there is fight, संघर्ष for the good of the mankind. So ये तो कुंभ मेल है. So that was the horror that we carried from there. So anyways, I am Dr. Abhishek. So as brother introduced, I passed out from Alike in 2007. I did my 5 years at Alike from 8th standard to 12th. So after that, I joined MBBS in a government medical college, after which I did my post-graduation. So one thing that inspired me in a Sai institution, as even as a child, was service orientation amongst the Tyagajivis and also our elders. So they used to conduct medical camps. So in those medical camps, I used to see doctors coming and serving patients, and I was wondering what this profession was. And went on thinking, and I felt this was one such profession where you connect directly to the patients. So you see a patient coming with chest pain, you treat the patient, he becomes well. You see a patient coming with cough, breathlessness, and you treat the patient, and that patient gets well. So the gratitude or the gratification, which we can say, is very instantaneous in this field. That's what I felt. Because that's the reason I took up medicine. And I'm not regretting it, of course. So after that, I was interested in civil service. Even after doing my MD medicine, I was interested to do civil service and be an IAS officer, for which I started my preparation. Of course, it was just for a year. So in that journey, I realized patients not only carry disease burden, they carry burden of economics, they carry burden of housing, they carry burden of job opportunities, they carry burden of housing and infrastructure. So, so many factors. It is a multicentric and multimodal factors that are contributing to the welfare of the society, not only the health sector. So, with this intention, I took up civil service. So, I was so fortunate enough to unfortunately not clear civil service. So, dear Dr. Fanindra, one of my friend, he brought me back to Muddenalli. He told, why don't you come back and join Muddenalli? So I came here, and Sadguru told me one thing. So whatever you want to do as a civil service, it is the same thing that we are doing as an organization. Your own organization is doing it, so why don't you join? So of course we are doing the same service that of a government, even to say more than the government, like in the sectors of health, education, nutrition, in lines with the sustainable development goals of 2030. So it's such an opportunity, and I feel fortunate of not clearing civil service and having come and joined this institution. So, to begin with, there is a small village around 5 kilometers from Muddenhalli. The name of the village is Kandwara. So it's a tiny village with population of not more than 100. So in this village, a young couple, they belong to a poor and marginal socioeconomic status. They belong to a family of farmers. So they own not more than 2 acres of land. Uh, so this couple, though they belong to an underprivileged sector, they lived happily. So one fine day, as a boon, as a blessing, this couple were blessed with a small little baby girl. So it was all joy all around to see this small, cute little girl play, this cute little girl cry, this cute little girl smile, this cute little girl walk around, this cute little girl run. It is such a joy all around. There is an aura of joy in that village. And one fine day, when this girl was playing with her friends, she just collapsed on the ground. She fell on the ground. So our hospital being just 5 kilometers from Muddenhalli, so they brought this girl to our hospital. So we evaluated the child and diagnosed the child to a ventricular septal defect. So ventricular septal defect is a small defect between the heart has 4 chambers, as we all know: right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, and the left ventricle. Between the two ventricles, there is a septum, a separation. This child had a hole, which is a big hole. So we diagnosed the child to have ventricular septal defect. It was very serious. And with this septal defect, the child needed a surgery. And immediately, we had a senior most pediatric cardiothoracic surgeon who is who is having more than 25 years experience in the field. So this surgeon, he operates on this child within an hour. We take up the case, the doctors operate on this child, and the very next day, we can see the same child playing in the wards, in the corridors of our hospital with all joy and happiness. Once again. So, if you just look back, just 5 kilometers from a village, we have a world class infrastructure, one of its kind infrastructure. Just 5 kilometers from a tiny village. Of course, our hospital itself is situated in a village. We have one of the best pediatric cardiothoracic surgeon, and the stent, the device that we used for the child is one of the best. It is one of the best device. So it is approved by CE according to European standards. CE is Conformité Européenne, and also it is approved by FDA, that is Food and Drug Administration of USA. It is a standard stent that we are using, device that we are using, approved by all the agencies. So, when we are utilizing such a good stents, when we have such a good infrastructure in the rural, for the rural, of the rural, what else? That shows the magnitude of service that we are doing as an institution. So, our institution has reached such a stage where we are thinking only of the underprivileged, the downtrodden, even the hospital. If you look at the hospital, the statistics, around 85 to 90% of the patients who come are below poverty line. You'll be astonished to know that 80 to 90% of the patients are from below poverty line. So that is the magnitude of service that we are doing. So if you look at why are we doing such a service in our hospital or in such a magnitude. So if you look back, we can say the purpose behind it. The purpose is no child should be devoid of healthcare, basic healthcare. No child should be devoid of basic education. No child should be devoid of basic nutrition. So, in this world full of commerce and commercialization, they alone live who live for others, the rest are all more dead than alive. So these are the words of our dear founder, our dear Sadguru, Sri Madhusudan Sai. So this is the purpose for us to, for all of us to work together and move forward. If this is the purpose, who are all the people working for it? We have so many alumni, so many devotees, so many well-wishers, so many corporate organizations, so many institutions, so many government uh, political parties joining hands with us. So many stakeholders are coming forward. So to work for that purpose, the purpose is that no child should be devoid of good health, education, and nutrition. So if that is the purpose, if that is the people, so what is the process that we are going through? So if you just look back, it is just not spirituality. I can call our organization as a service organization with spiritual background. So why I say this? Because even in our hospital, so we now have started, or as all of us know, we have started MBBS course, and now our students are in second year. They have passed first year in flying colors. Around 90% of the students have secured distinction. It's like very surprising. 90% of the students have cleared the first year exams with distinction, and they have come to second year, and in month of July or August they're going to take up second year examination, and they're going to clear second year exams as well. So why am I saying this? So all of these 50 students, MBBS students, all the students in all the batches are given a research topic. So they're supposed to come out with a research after passing MBBS with a research paper. This is the first time in the world where there is a free medical college, free hospital with coming out with such a research oriented approach. So that's the reason I say ours is a service organization with spiritual background, striving the path in a scientific manner. In a scientific manner. So whatever you see, even if you look at the education, all the syllabus that we're following is of a scientific approach, looking at the holistic development of a child as a whole. Even with our nutrition department, the other day I was speaking with our brother, Mr. Bernie Prasad, who is so much into research. They're doing so much of studies into nutrition. What are the components that can include? What are the micronutrients that they can supply? How can they overcome this hidden hunger? So much of research is going around. So the process of our institution is the research. So with the purpose, with the divine vision of our founder, Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, with such dedicated souls like all of you who are in this satsang, working for the mission, the people who are working for the mission, and the process which is more scientific, authentic, and which is service driven with background of service. So that is the process. So with this people, purpose, and process, there is nothing to stop our organization from leading forward. So that is the background of which we are working in our hospital. So with this, so I just like to say, as a child, I did not have proper clothes to wear. So as a child, I did not have good food to eat. As a child, I did not have medicines to take. As a child, I did not have good teachers to teach. But as soon as I reached 12 years old, the doors of Satya Sai Grama opened. Now I have proper clothes to wear. Now I have proper medicines to take. Now I have proper food to take. Now I have proper teachers to teach. These are not my words. These are words of technician, one of the technician who works at our hospital. His name is Mr. Shivu. He joined our institution at standard 6 and till he studied till 12th. He went on to do BSc in OT technology and he has joined back our institution. I'm saying this because our mission is to produce thousands of Shivu who are selfless and fearless and who can become engineers, future engineers like Vishveshwaraya. So our mission is to produce thousands of Shivus who are selfless and fearless doctors, future doctors like Dr. Bidin Chandra Roy. Our mission, sorry, not doctor, our mission is to produce 1,000 more Shivus who are selfless and fearless. Future saints, probably, like Swami Vivekananda. Our mission is to produce thousands of Shivus who are going to be future spiritual leaders like Sadguru Srimad Sudan Sai. So that is the magnitude of mission which you're talking about. So as we know, they say, Yada yada hi dharmasya, glanir bhavati bharata, abhyutthanama dharmasya, tadatmanam sujamyaham. So whenever the world needs, there has been a leader. And now our leader is Sadguru Srimad Sudan Sai. If you look back from 2011, after demise of Sri Satya Sai Baba, from 2012 to 2022, this has been a decade of hope, decade of dedication. It has been a decade of faith. So it has been a decade of transformation. So many things are taking place with the blessings of Bhagwan and blessings of Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. So we are indeed fortunate to be in this mission. So when the charity is being done, they say charity should not be done in a charitable style, in a charitable cost, or a charitable standard. So the charity should be done in a corporate style, at a corporate cost, in a corporate standard, where quality is more important than quantity. So if you look at the services being provided at our hospital, you can compare them in par with any other institution, any other hospital in the world. For to say, in India, we can classify hospitals as private hospital. That is all the nursing homes that we have, or a corporate hospital who work on a corporate business model, or a charitable hospital like that of ours, or a government hospital, which we have, government sector, or a medical college hospital. We can classify hospitals into this. So all these hospitals will have government regulations, like there is Central Drug Control Standard Organization, CDSCO, we call it as CDSCO, or National Pharma Pricing Authority, NPPA, or we can say BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards. So we have all these regulations, we have so many regulations to meet. On the other side, in a private organization, they have own structure. But what I feel is making a difference in our hospital is the ethical consciousness. We can say ethics is a science, ethics is a set of moral principles that govern as to how an individual has to conduct himself personally, socially, and also professionally. So it is not the government regulations, it is not the institutional policies that is making things happen, but the ethical consciousness that we are divine and we are going to treat the patients who are divine, that is making such a huge, huge, huge difference in our hospital. So I would like to share a couple of instances with you all. There was a patient by name Miss Pavitra. This patient was 32 years old. She already had a child, a girl child, was 3 years old. So this patient comes with a lot of health problems, like this patient had diabetes, this patient had hypertension, this patient had hypothyroidism, this patient has uh, preeclampsia. I mean to say, preeclampsia is a condition where the patient will have hypertension, and along with hypertension, there are more chances of going into seizures, throwing seizures. So it is very serious condition in pregnancy, which affects well-being of both mother and as well as the child. So also this patient has a condition called placenta previa. So if this is the uterus, if this is the uterus, usually the placenta is placed above and the child is lying down, and during the birth, the child just comes down. In this placenta previa, the placenta is placed in the birth canal, lower part of the uterus, and it comes in the obstruction of the child in the delivery of the child. So this is a very serious condition. So this patient initially goes to a government hospital, but looking at her health condition, they refuse treatment for her. So with nowhere to go, this patient comes to our hospital. So again, our doctors evaluate the patient, diagnose the patient, guide the patient, admit the patient, stabilize the patient, and operate the patient. And after operation, the result is healthy mother and healthy child. By the grace of Sadguru, the surgery goes on very well. The next day, when the doctors goes to see this patient was in all tears. The patient says, I'm so thankful to the founder, the Swamiji who is running this institution. I'm so thankful to the doctors who are running the institutions. And I am even more thankful to the staff who are working with such a service intention, especially the nurses. I'm so impressed. They've taken care of me so beautifully. So now that I'm having a girl child, so in the future, I want my child to be a nurse. She doesn't say that her child she wants her child to be a doctor, she wants her child to be an officer, she wants her child to be an engineer. She says she wants her child to be a nurse and serve in an institution like this. So this is the transformation that our institution is creating. And there's one more patient whose name was Rafiq Ahmad. So this patient had cancer of pancreas, so the head of the pancreas. So we had to do a procedure called fresh procedure. So the pancreas is attached to the duodenum, the intestine. It is placed there. So what we do, we remove a section of pancreas, remove a section of intestine, and do pancreatico-jejunostomy, and then we connect the duodenum with the pancreas. So it is one of the major surgery. So for which the patient comes, the patient is again 60-year-old coming from a poor socioeconomic status. The patient was manual laborer, if I remember. So this patient comes to our hospital. Again, we admit, we do all the screening, we do the surgery. And the next day, the patient is put in the ICU since it is a major surgery. So the doctors go to do the rounds. So this patient initially used to say, Assalamu alaikum, sir. Allah unko dua kare, the patient used to say. So post-surgery, when the doctors go to see the patient says, Saigram, Allah aapko dua kare. It may seem very simple, but just observe the transformation that is taking place in this patient. Such a divine transformation. The transformation that all religions are one. That there is no difference between any caste, any religion, any sex, or any country. So that is the transformation that we're speaking about. This patient was a known smoker. This patient was a chronic alcoholic. And after this incidents, after the surgery, the patient goes on to say, Sir, I want to give up my drinking. Please send me to a de-addiction center. Of course, we contacted one of the NGO which has a de-addiction center, and the patient is now living happily with no complication. The patient has left smoking. The patient has left drinking. And also the patient came forward. A daily wage laborer came forward to donate 10,000 rupees. Of course, the institution did not take that 10,000 rupees. He wanted to keep it with himself for his welfare. But see the intention, see the transformation that is taking place. So each of the patients that we are treating, the institution or the hospital probably want them to have a sense of gratitude for the treatment that they are taking. Gratitude in order to develop a sense of devotion. Devotion not only in Bhagwan, devotion not only towards Sadguru, not only towards any of the Hindu gods, so devotion towards themselves, a sense of devotion towards themselves. And with this devotion shall come transformation, where they shall be potential bombshells spreading the divine message of the divine Lord, love all and serve all. So each of the patients that we're treating, developing a sense of gratitude, from gratitude coming a sense of devotion, from devotion coming a sense of transformation. That is how we are going to transform a village. That is how we are going to transform a district, a state, a country, and the whole world. And that is the mission that we are doing at the hospital. So, with this message, in Sanskrit they say, Sanskritam Bharatasya Sarvesham Bhashanam Janani Asti. Sanskrit is the mother of all languages. Asmakam Bharatiya Samskritihi Samskrita Bhashayam Eva Asti. Our great Indian culture, Samskriti, is present in language, Sanskrit alone. Vedaha, Upanishad, Ramayanam, Mahabharatam, ityadi shrestha krutayaha Samskrita Bhashayam eva asti. The great Vedas, Upanishad, Ramayanam, Mahabharatam, all these great Indian scriptures are present in Sanskrit language alone. अतः वदन्ति भारतस्य द्वे प्रतिष्ठे संस्कृतं तथा संस्कृति इति. That is the reason they say the pride of great mother India are two: the culture Sanskriti and the language Sanskrit. So we are so blessed to have an institution which spreads culture of love, culture of compassion, culture of dedication, culture of discipline amongst all its staff. Again, sorry for the voice once again. And they say, मंजिल उन्हें मिलती है जिनकी सपनों में जान है. So they alone are able to meet the destination who have strength in their dreams. Imagine when we dream selflessly, fearlessly, to make this world a better place, what can stop us? पंख तो सभी को होते हैं. All birds will have wings. लेकिन बस हौसलों से उड़ते हैं. But they alone fly who have intention to fly. So the alone serve who have intention to serve. So when we are selfless, when we are fearless, when we have love and compassion to give it to others selflessly, so nothing can stop the work that we are doing. When I was a child, so I mean to say, when I was in 9th standard, there was a maths teacher. His name was Ramchandra Rao. If anyone of you remember, he was a maths teacher at Kalike. So he has told a quote which is still lingering in my mind. And I remember this throughout my life. It has been such a beautiful quote. It says, the ship is safest in the dock. I mean to say, the ship is safest in the shore, seashore. It is safest there. Just because the ship is brand new Just because the ship is safe in the shore, it is not meant to be there. The ship is meant to wander deep into the sea. The ship is meant to go deep into the mighty ocean, just like a roaring lion. The ship is meant to face all the hurricanes, all the typhoons, all the tornadoes, all the cyclones, because that is what the ship is meant for. So, we are all that mighty ship. The potential of ours might not be known to us, but we have so much to do for the society, for the humanity, for the institution as a whole. So we should all join hands together. So in Sanskrit they say, Uttaret Hatman Hatmanam, na Hatmanam Avasadahet. Atma Hevahi Hatmana Bandhu, Atma Heva Ripu Hatmanaha. It means to say, O human, Atma, that is the body, the Hatman, the soul. The body itself is the best friend as well as the best enemy for the soul. It can either be the best friend or the best enemy. It is for us to decide what we want to be. So, also there is Maha Upanishad. So, the chapter number 6 and volume number 71 to 73, which says, Ayam Nijaha Paroviti Ganaha Laguchetasam Udara Charitanam to Vasudaiva Kutumbakam. It says, it is for the narrow minded, for the weak to consider someone as stranger and someone as relative. But it is for the broad minded, for the magnanimous individuals to consider this whole world as one family. So that is what we are. We are this whole world, one connected family. So Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So with this, I would like to end. So was I audible?
Yes. Yeah, that was perfect.
Perfectly audible, and your sound was perfect. I know you are having cough and all that. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, sorry for the voice once again.
That's perfectly fine. Yes, Siddarth.
Yeah, I think we just wanted to thank Dr. Abhishek for that wonderful satsang. It was very inspiring, especially the episodes about the Kumbh Mela, and it's very nice to hear about these stories of the patients themselves being transformed, and it also inspires all of us who may be working somewhat remotely to help the mission to work harder and faster and even match Swami's speed. So I think next we have a small Q&A session, so people in the meeting can maybe post their questions, and yeah. Eslen brother, is there any procedure for the Q&A, or is there any place, or do they just enter it in the chat?
Yeah, they can enter in the chat or raise their hand if they want to talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think while we wait, let's give some time. But since we have Krishna's sister here and also Mehran, so Siddarth, you can introduce Krishna's sister.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For each
So
and every
for-
one,
Yeah.
trust no better than her to kind of talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Krishna's sister, as we call her, she is an alumni from Anantapur campus. She graduated in 1995. She worked in the corporate sector for 15 years and joined the PBMT Prashanti Bal Mandira Trust as an admin manager in 2015 on Swami's command, and she's presently serving as an even trustee. And she's been behind many of the popular even initiatives, like the highly successful webinar series, and also this particular satsang series. So yeah, over to sister.
Saram, everybody. Good evening, good morning from wherever you are joining. I'm sure Dr. Abhishek has left us all quite enthralled by sharing his experiences. Truly, it is one world, one family. We cannot do what we are doing without all of you supporting the mission. So, it's just been so amazing to be part of this beautiful journey in the mission. I'm sure all of you also feel the same. Just to take one example, when you look at the mission itself, you have nutrition, education, as well as healthcare, and everything delivered with so much of love and compassion. Recently, I had this opportunity to take a friend of mine to a hospital outside of our system because we did not have a particular facility, a particular test that we had to do for her. And I had to take her to a corporate hospital in Bangalore. And the situation was kind of quite grim and serious. But when I walked into that hospital, it was a corporate hospital. It was just like any other patient, a case had come. Nobody was there to even ask me, how are you? Where are you from? There's absolutely no love. The patient is taken for the MRI scan, and they ask me to go to the billing counter to make sure I make the payment. I felt, I was the only one who had gone along with her. And it was so, I felt absolutely left alone. Nobody was there. And even I happened to know one of the staff in that hospital, but even that person was not showing any empathy. It was just, you are a case there, you have come there, you can get your job done and walk out. Of course, my friend recovered and she's doing fine. They did whatever was required. All that is great. But that empathy, that concern, that love that you find when you walk into our temple of healing, it's truly a temple of healing. Because when you go there, many people, when they come and we give a tour of our institutions to them, they ask them, why this grand architecture? Why do you need the dome and why do you need it so grand? But actually, when you walk into such an institution, the patients, when they come in there, they automatically, half the burden is gone because they feel that love. They feel that they will be taken care of. And there is no burden of money. That is what makes a person, like the instances that Dr. Abhishek was quoting. If they had to pay for that child to recover, after that, the entire family is in poverty. Whatever they need to pay for the child's cure, they would have spent all their savings, everything that they have at home. When I was working in the super specialty hospital in Whitefield before I joined Mudinali, they would say that the patients who come from West Bengal would have sold the last copper vessel in their kitchen to be able to make the trip from West Bengal to Karnataka or to the hospital in Bangalore to get the treatment done. So that's what we are doing here. We are really, really saving lives. Not only lives, we're saving the families as well. The breadwinner can continue to support the family after such a setback. It's really not a setback because it becomes an experience of transformation. And they are inspired and they spread the word, and many more people come to know about our hospital, and they also come and get treated. And many of these beneficiaries also become future staff members of our hospital, or they come and do volunteering seva, monthly volunteering seva that we have. So everywhere the Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the transformation is also happening globally. Everyone is touched. Those who may or may not know Sadguru or Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, they have no means to know, but they get to know because of an illness. And then they are inspired. Same with the education, same with the nutrition. Everyone, it's truly, everyone is getting inspired and the world is being changed one person at a time. That's what I would like to share. I think over to Mehran sir. I think he wants to give a presentation.
Yes, as Mehran is preparing for presentation, I'll just I'm not going to introduce. I think we know that we have two very important people from organization here, Mehran and Vivek. Thanks both of them for joining, and actually very appropriate because Abhishek, I mean, it's very very inspiring speech, and he ended with Vasudeva Kudumbakam, and sister, you also talked about it, and I think Vasudeva Kudumbakam translated to one world, one family, and with I think Sadguru's instructions, we have this new foundation, and we all are very curious to know about it. So none other than the board members to talk about One World, One Family Foundation. And after that, I'll briefly talk about something exciting that we want to do for even 400th birthday, and then with the Q&A. So also, Menanji, if any more information you all have about Sadhguru's visit, we all are very eager to know. Over to you.
Thank you, brother. I hope you all can hear me. Can you see the presentation, brother?
Yes, clear.
Is that full screen or?
Yes, full screen.
Okay. Well, Dr. Abhishek, brother, please allow me to first thank you for sharing this wonderful experience. You know, every single day for all of us, no matter if you are in Bay Area, California, other states, and India, I think we all have been given this wonderful opportunity by Sadguru and to serve our less fortunate brothers and sisters. But I have to admit that as I was listening to you, there was this joy, brother. There was this incredible joy I felt because you are on the front line. We are somewhere back doing our job as a soldier, serving Swami, serving the mission, but to be able to listen to what you shared about that child story, about the fact that, 80 to 90% of the patients that they come are below poverty line. It's really, every time I keep thinking, another miracle, another miracle, another miracle, and how really blessed we all are, and especially the young people like yourself, that you're so close to Sadguru on that land and serving Swami. Thank you so much, brother. Sairam, everyone. Just saying few words. I was asked about Swami's trip, upcoming trip. The trip will be to USA, of course. It will be April 3rd through 19th. And during this roughly 2 weeks, believe it or not, Swami is going to be visiting 11 cities. It's not a trivial phenomena. It's not easy, but Swami is putting humongous effort, making an effort trying to visit all the key cities where we have OWOF chapter presidents and meeting with individuals, like-minded people who like to join the mission. So the trip, the entry, and of course, I also should say that this is after traveling to 30 cities before Swami comes to Atlanta on April 3rd. That will be the first city and the entry point, followed by New Jersey on April 6th. And then Swami is going to go to Canada, to Toronto and Ottawa on April 8 and 9, followed by Washington, D.C. on April 10, Clarksville 11, Mason, Ohio on April 12, Houston, Texas on April 13, and on the 14th, Swami is going to go to Mexico, Chihuahua, in the morning, and then come to Bay Area. Also in Bay Area, although we say Bay Area, but I know that every time Swami comes, we end up traveling to 2 cities maybe. And eventually Swami will be going to Southern California to
Karam,
info
brother,
at OWOF. Go ahead, please.
Patty had a question about the earlier one. The question is, will there be a public satsang in any of the cities?
Not this time, brother. And not as of right now that we are aware of. Every city, the meetings have been very few small gatherings.
Thank you.
I think we'll have few more minutes if all of you hold on for any other live questions. And thank you, Mehranji, for taking over this One World One Family Foundation. I think it's very appropriate to the theme of Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam that we have been talking about. And as part of the education wing, as part of this One World One Family Foundation itself, what we call as Each One Educate One, what we normally do every year, and actually would like to remind our devotees, is to support this effort, especially the beginning of the year. Education is top of the mind for many people because March is typically the end of academic year. So what we're doing is we are thinking the alumni who is here. Some of us are in the call, Siddarth, Praveen, SLN and all that. So all of us were wondering as alumni what we can do for the 100th year. And so for education specifically, so I like a brief story. Like I remember when Swami was having all these projects, and I used to wonder how is it all going to happen, and how is it all going to run? And one of the spark came to me once when I was in Mudunhalli, when I was listening to some of the children talking, very young children, just finished their 10th grade, and when they're talking so confidently and saying that their goal, and each of them coming in and saying that we are going to be the next collector, or we are going to be the next doctor, just like Dr. Abhishek that you have listened to, right? And the conviction which they spoke, I was just convinced that this is how the mission is going to run. It's not through all these donations and all that alone, but these people who are going to take over and supporting the next generation. That is like really lighting the fire which is going to take this mission. So I think that way Each One Educate One is a very significant mission. And I think for 100th birthday, we're thinking at least we should support 100 children. Normally each child is like $1,000, and for the entire year's education, because it's very efficient, because a lot of the teachers, principal are all volunteers. So our organization runs in a very efficient form. And as Mehranji called out, one of the wing of One World One Family Foundation is education. And as part of the education, especially for the next 3 months, we are thinking we should have a campaign which can encourage everybody to donate, so that we can actually, when Swami comes in April, we will submit in front of Swami all the people who donated, the names, and we will try to at least submit before him at least 100 students, which will be like $100,000 at least. And as the core even group itself here, we were thinking what should we do to challenge ourselves, and we thought, as part of this, all together as a group, the core, the alumni who is here, for every dollar that the devotee puts for this cause for next 3 months, we will also put $1 from our side, so that we can combine and double that whole impact. And finally on April, when Swami comes, we can submit that. So we are going to run this campaign for 3 months, April, because it's a good timing. March end is when Each One Educate One, normally the academic year ends, and we tally all the amounts, and Sadguru is going to come in April. So it'll be a good small contribution that we can show to him as a card with all the people. We do that every year. And as part of Even Core, we'll also try to match the dollar given by devotees in this year. Very quickly, before we transition to Q&A, I think Q&A will be open for all the people, because we have Vivek and Mehran, and as well as Krishna's sister and Abhishek especially. And I see some questions Abhishek is already answering, so we'll spend some more minutes. But before that, Sister Krishna, any quick word on like where we are on Each One Educate One, since specifically we are going to run this campaign for 3 months. And anything quick as where we stand, about the requirement and all that, so that all of us are aware.
Yeah, right now we have been able to cover about 50% of the students across all the campuses. As you know, one of our main fundraising sources is the corporate sector, and they have this corporate social responsibility that they have to donate to a charity, and we are very active in that space. We go out and meet different corporates, talk to them about the mission, and request for their support. So much of their funds come in only in the last quarter of the year. That is in Jan, Feb, and March. For us, the year ends in March. So we are hoping to cover most of the students in the next 2 months. We did get a significant grant earlier in January, and some more we are expecting in February and March. But we expect to cover only about 70 to 75% of our students for this academic year through the corporate matching program, corporate sponsoring program. But we look forward to retail support to bridge the remaining 25%.
Got it. Okay. So it's very, very appropriate timing.
Yes,
March.
perfect timing.
Yes. Okay. So we all, I think, should try our best. And actually, in fact, last year we had a similar program, if you remember, for January to March, and we were initially not sure whether will be able to support the goal, because there are a lot of projects going on and everybody is, involved in many projects. But surprisingly, by the time April again, like when Sadguru came, we actually hit the goal. It just happened from all across. And by March, and I remember, I think Praveen, who is an alumni, who is showed that to Sadguru, and he, waited, looked at it, and even previously has said that we should do more. And actually, in fact, one of the instructions he has given also is to kind of spread the mission of education beyond even devotees, right? And I think that is the whole message even Mehran is also giving, right? Of one world, one family foundation to go beyond devotees. And I think we should think more about it. We have not reached that stage, but I think this time also will be great. We can do the same thing when he comes. It'll be among all the projects he can at least see this too. And as from the core, each one educate one team, we will commit to kind of contributing from our side this time for all the contribution that comes from devotees, so that we can together combine it. Yeah, Mehranji, any message?
Actually, brother, I just wanted to say how lovely it is to be able to sponsor another 100 students by the time Swami comes. And I loved your idea of the card that you could sign everyone with everyone's name and present it to Swami. And I wanted to also say that we could pray. We all could pray to Swami for the ones who are, let's say, in Bay Area, that we could ask maybe for a picture with Swami. Not only you present the card, but also pray to Swami. I know he's going to be very busy, and I don't know how much success we will have, but we could pray and see how it goes. Brilliant, wonderful idea, brother. Wonderful idea.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. That'll be wonderful. So with that, I think we will send the link to how to go there. We can go to One World Fund Family Foundation or even Foundation, all direct to the same place. Let's spend few more minutes. I see some questions. Any questions to Dr. Abhishek? And Abhishek is a great example of how one student can make a big difference, given the inspiring speech we have heard. So I think I'm convinced that's how the mission is going to run. So let's just wait for a minute for any other questions which came in. I remember seeing one question where I don't know whether it'll take time, Dr. Abhishek, but I remember somebody asking, because you're also an anesthesiologist,
Yeah.
you had experiences, because that's I heard a very tricky part of the operation to be successful. Anything that you want to share?
Yeah, I would like to share one such experience. Like there is a pregnant lady. I don't remember her name. It has been almost a year now. So that patient, so she came with again multiple complications. She was having preeclampsia, and also she was throwing fits like seizures. She was throwing seizures in the operation table. So we had to give anesthesia amidst she throwing fissures, and we gave anesthesia. The operation went on well. There was healthy baby, healthy mother, same story. But what went wrong was in the post-operative period, this lady, her BP started falling. her blood pressure started falling. So it was like almost 110 to 60 in the beginning, which went on to 90 by 60 and 80 by 60, and her pulse was almost not recordable. So we were wondering what was going wrong, and we are trying to Swami, and we were just evaluating her, diagnosing her. So we did the ultrasound scan abdomen in the beginning, but we did not know the cause. But later on, we did scanning in the inner flanks of the abdomen when we found that she was having a huge collection of blood, a hematoma in the flank region. So the sutures that the doctor has put over the uterus, one of the suture had given away, and she was in hypovolemic shock. So she was almost in the verge of arrest. And you will not believe, one of our surgeon who is also an alumni was going to his home, and he happened to come to the department of obstetrics and gynecology, like as a coincidence, and we caught hold of him, and we caught hold of a gynecologist who was there in the operation theater, and we again opened the abdomen. And as soon as we opened the abdomen, the suture had given away. There was also rupture of a huge blood vessel aorta. And in no time, within 5 minutes, our doctor sutured. And I, as an anesthesiologist, was not supposed to panic. I was so panicky that day that all that was in my mouth was Sairam, Sairam, Sairam. And the surgery, and even the second surgery on the same day, after 1 hour of the previous surgery, went on very well. So this patient recovered well, and this patient went back home happily. So that was one such very huge challenge that I faced in my entire career of 10 years, and especially in this institution, to say.
Any great experience. Any other questions, Siddarth?
Oh yeah, I had one. I was just curious to know the daily schedule of a doctor, especially at our hospitals.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get your question.
Sorry. So what would your daily schedule be at the hospital?
Yeah, so we go to hospital by around 8:30 in the morning. So we punch at 8:30 in the morning. We sign in at 8:30. So me being an intensivist, I go to the ICU. I do the rounds of all the patients who are there. So from 8:30 to 10:30, from 10:30 to 11:30, we counsel the patients. So and even our model of counseling is in line with the institution. So to say is, for an example, if patient is on ventilator, we first tell the patient attendees of all the investigations, like all the abnormal investigations that the patient has, like the hemoglobin is dropping, the WBC count is rising, abnormal electrolytes, so to say, and we update about the current situation to the patient. And next comes our mission, where we say the great work we are doing under the vision of Sadguru. In the local language, we say Swamiji, and there is vision. We are running this hospital free of cost. So this would have costed you around 25,000 Indian rupees or 30,000 Indian rupees in any nursing home or a corporate hospital, which are giving free of cost. If a patient were to stay in hospital for 10 days, it would have costed around 3 lakhs to 5 lakhs, which are giving free of cost. So doing this free of cost was to create a model where you feel happy about the services, not only feel happy about the services, tomorrow you go back to your town and spread this message to your neighbors, to your surrounding people, and as to say them that this is the service that is being afforded, and what is the best that you can do as an individual, not only to your institution but to the society. How can you contribute? So just we leave each patient with this thought of what best they can do to the society. So it is very inspiring, and we also speak to them in lines with spirituality, like how such a big opportunity is provided to you to bring your parents here. You're doing your duty as a son. You're like a modern Shravana Kumara, has to say that you're performing your duties as a son. You're bringing him to the best hospital, best care is being given. So it's a holistic approach, has to say. And our day ends at around 5 o'clock. But most of the times, we will be there in the hospital anytime to serve the patients. So this is our routine. Yeah.
That's very nice to hear. So is it like, just a small follow-up question. So how many surgeries does the hospital conduct in a day?
Yeah, this hospital alone, Muddenhalli Hospital alone, does around 15 to 20 surgeries a day.
Oh,
And we see around 1,300 patients, outpatients every day. 1,300 outpatients every day. We perform 15 to 20 surgeries every day. So this is the volume that we are speaking about. Yeah.
massive. And hopefully it grows in the coming years as well.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at that. Any other questions anybody want to ask? Oh, please go ahead.
I think there was a question posted, and I think Dr. Abhishek responded in the chat, but I wanted if you can respond because some people may not have seen it. The question was at Sarla Memorial Hospital, do you often treat patients who do not receive sufficient care at government hospitals? Dr. Abhishek, would you like to respond a little more?
Yeah. So just as I told, this is not story of one such Pavitra who went to government hospital and she was refused treatment. The problem with government hospitals, which I see in India, especially in India, is the attitude to serve. The doctors there, they're only concerned about their salaries, as to say, they're only concerned about their security of job security of being a government employee, but they don't see that their profession is to serve, that their position is to serve the patients. So they just like to show away the patients. Like if they're too sick, they just want to send them to an IR center or to a private hospital or to their own clinic to make more money. So that is the model that has been happening in India. So in that sense, we have many patients, around 20% of the patients, as to say, it may be 20, 22 or 2% here and there. But so many patients coming to us from government hospitals, devoid of healthcare in government hospitals. So this is the sad story, but this is also a reality. Yeah.
I would like to just add an experience that happened recently. I'm sure Dr. Abhishek can relate this better. But we had a truck driver who was driving all the way from the northern part of India, and he had come to near Chikbalapur. He was driving his truck, and he had just parked the truck to have a cup of tea. And while he was having his tea, he had severe chest pain. And people around him, obviously, it was just 5 kilometers away from a hospital. So they rushed him to a hospital, and he had actually suffered a heart attack. And immediately he was attended to, and whatever surgery was to be performed was performed. And imagine a patient who is driving a truck. What is his means? What is it that he can afford? And he is in an unknown place in that sense. He's not near his hometown. His family is not nearby. And he comes into a hospital, and immediate attention is given, and he's the breadwinner of the family. And if he had gone to any other hospital, first thing they would have asked him is
Deposit
the money. And here he was saved, and he's eternally grateful to God. Forget about Sadguru or Swami. At the end of the day, his faith in humanity, his faith in God has been restored. And that is the change that's happening. And so many people like that are being treated. They come in very sick and they go out. It's just a transformation that happens simply overnight, just by one surgery that happens. So it's truly rewarding. It's truly transformative.
Yeah, Dr. Abhishek, if since many of us are also professional in different companies and all that, you have worked outside, right?
Yeah.
For this. And how do you on a day-to-day basis though, you understand, you are doing service, but you get very busy and your life goes on. And so over time, how do you compare your life, your past life where you used to work, in a hospital, and here, being so busy all the time.
I'll just tell you, yeah, I got your question, but previously I used to work in a corporate hospital for around 5 years as an intensivist there. So I'll just tell you the story of how things work there. So they give you, the patients come to the hospital. So first you look at the patient as a commodity. So you see if the patient is rich enough to pay the bills, number one. Second, you see if the patient is having insurance, health insurance, is empaneled with any insurance. Then you start grading the patient. I'm not exaggerating. This is how the corporate works. Like they grade as grade 3, this patient can pay the bill. First preference, grade 2, insured patients. Grade 1, patient is not able to pay. So for the grade 3 patients and grade 2 patients, they give the preference, they admit such patients. And imagine the cost of ICU in a corporate hospital. It is almost 80,000 to 1 lakh per day. And most of the Indian insurances that we take, they get insured for around 5 lakhs, right? Around 5 lakhs. This 5 lakhs is going to get over in just 5 days. What about the sixth day? From the sixth day onwards, the patient has to pay from his pocket. So by the end of 10th day, the patient is out of all the money in his bank account, and this patient has nowhere to go. Some of the patient even sell their land, sell their homes, mortgage their homes to save the patient. And many of the patients, the patient attenders, they take the patient away from the ICU, and on the way back to their home, I've seen many patients dying on the way back home. So this is the model with which the corporates work. It is all finance driven. So here in our hospital, we need not see this patient is above poverty line, this patient is below poverty line, this patient is affordable, this patient is not affordable, this patient belongs to a higher socioeconomic status or lower socioeconomic status, this religion, that religion. The doors of our hospital are open to everyone. So we simply mean to say the working model here is a free model where the doctors need not bother about the finances of the patient. Of course, it is Sadguru is throwing up so much on himself, putting so much of workload on himself to do good for the society, which is inspiring every day for all the doctors working here.
Yeah, I think that is
Yeah.
very, very inspiring. I mean, I think at the ground level,
That's yeah.
it's there's nothing greater than one's life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm also being mindful of your both time too. I know all of you, both of you are also very busy. So,
No.
thanks for coming. I don't know whether there's any other question. Otherwise, we can close, right, Siddarth?
Yeah.
Mehran brother has raised his hand.
Mehran, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Abhishek, again, brother, it's such a joy meeting you. And I was wondering if you ever come to Bay Area, California. I think we should make a point inviting other doctors, Bay Area doctors,
Sure.
Apio, and they really have you present what you just shared with us. It's most amazing. I had no idea about all these gradings that goes on. So please let us know and give us some advance time so we can arrange these things. Actually, you might want to even ask the hospital, the management team. I think it would be really good for all of us.
Sure.
Yeah, I think, Siddarth.
Oh, yeah. I think I've just shared my screen and we have the QR code because in order to participate with the Even, which is newly integrated with the One World, One Family Foundation, there's just a couple of steps. Initially, you go to this Even link, which you can also scan with the QR code. So that should open up the Even page for the US. And at the bottom of that page, when you scroll down, you would see an option which says for donors outside India. please contribute via one of our supporting partners. And that's where you click on the One World, One Family Foundation link. And that way, the donation will be through One World, One Family and is also tagged with E1E1. I believe that's the procedure, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it gets
Yes.
tagged with E1E1 so that we can also track the donations on our side. And also, I think just one, oh yeah. So last time you presented the card to Swami, and just a big thank you to everyone who participated last time. And hopefully we get to do something similar, or maybe we'd all get a group picture or something like that. I think Jayadev brother already mentioned what Swami said last time, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, he was very happy, and he was telling that we should spread it beyond,
Yeah.
even devotees, and continue the work. And normally we do it every year, the beginning of the year. And this time, like the core group, a few of us have decided we will also try to contribute on our behalf, whatever the devotees are contributing, so that it'll be doubled.